Hi guys! So I did a poll about a day ago asking whether you guys would like it if I did kind of a sketchbook tour of my Inktober drawings, and the majority of you said yes, and sorry for the 10 to 11% of you that said that you didn't really want it, but majority rules, and don't worry, I'll be uploading one of my map parts probably within the next week, as long as I have time to do it. So anyway, before I get into the drawings, I'm going to tell you what things I used for this month. And I mostly use the Copic Multiliners I have. It's a 0.05, a 0.3, and a 0.03. I lost my 0.1 that came with the package. And then for one drawing I used the Tombow Neutral 75, which is just for some shading. It was kind of, I understand it's watercolor and it's kind of not allowed in ink drawings, but oh well. And then for this drawing and a couple others near the end, I used these fine liner pens, which really only costed like $5 or $6 for like 24 of them. So, you know, like they're not A+ quality, but for $5 it's pretty good. And I got this at like at my Office Max, about a couple minutes from me. So it's just kind of a nice use of $6 and did some good stuff in this drawing, like right here. And for the first day I did Poisonous, and of course since Poison is a Pokemon type, I decided to do my favorite Gen 1 starter, Bulbasaur. And then I also just wanted to add little mushrooms just so it wouldn't be as plain. But as you can tell, most of these are just doodles rather than finished drawings. I was pretty into it for the first couple days, and then I got behind 10 days and just wanted to get done with it. So yeah, this is the first one. I really liked how it came out. I wish I did more with the black line art, but overall I liked how it came out. And then day 2 is Tranquil, and for this I drew a snow leopard just because I love how they look, and they're also endangered. So I did that with a moon in the background, and I was going to do like a bunch of pine trees in the background, kind of in the shape of a mountain, but then I didn't really get around to it. And ignore the yellow and marks right here, is from a previous drawing I made. I kind of accidentally drew on some other pages, but I think this is the only page that it really messed up. Alright, and I'm actually really proud of this. I kind of went for a more realistic style, but it kind of blended with my cartoon style. But I still really like how it came out with the patterns and little hatching details here and there to make the colors more present in its patterns. But yeah, that's day 2, Tranquil. And then day 3, one of my favorites, I drew my dog Milo, looking at a marshmallow on a stick. I really like this, other than the fact that I tried to do stars in the background. It didn't really come out as well as I hoped it would have. But I do like how the shading came out. It kind of helped, you know, kind of put some depth into this. Yes, I did use a Tombow, which is a watercolor pen, which kind of isn't allowed, but oh well. And then this is kind of the last day where I was actually really into it. But all the other days are mostly just either doodles or just plain old sketches. Actually, wait. I did get behind, but then I decided to keep doing stuff for day 4. I still tried on the stars again, and it still didn't come out how I wished it was. Overall, I really liked how it came out. I did spell because, you know, spell includes witches, and so I just drew a little kitty cat with a little hat on and a little stick right there. Not really casting a spell, but still goes with the definition. But I like how this came out. I like the little pumpkin I drew in the background. That came out pretty nice. And the grass came out pretty nice as well. So yep, that's day 4. Sorry, I kind of just dove into it. And then this is the time where I just kind of gave up. These 2 I actually drew in my government packet because I didn't have time to do everything at home with work and 3 AP courses. So Chicken I never really finished, and I never really looked at a reference for it, so it didn't really come out that well. But that's my attempt at it. I tried, I'm sorry. And then day 6 I drew a dog because I love dogs. And then day 7 I drew my little character Jam or Puffster, whatever you want to call it. There's about 1 billion names to that character now. But I drew it just kind of sleeping because, you know, that's what exhausted means. And I was kind of exhausted from doing Inktober, especially since I couldn't really draw what I wanted. I had to draw based on a prompt, and sometimes when I couldn't draw animals, that was painful. And then day 8, Star, I really did not know what to draw, so I just drew my character Quinn, which is a winged lynx that I kind of made up. Canadian lynx, if you want to be specific. So I drew some very minimal mountains in the background with a main star in the sky. I also used my Tombow marker for this, and I think I might have used my other Tombow. Didn't really like how this one came out, but it was okay for me rushing, in my opinion. And that was day 8, Star, and this is day 9. And this is where it's mostly just a doodle rather than a complete drawing. And so this was Precious, and for this I drew my dog Milo because he is a precious boy. He always wants treats. He's my precious doggo, so I drew him for day 9, Precious. Going on, we have 3 drawings here. This one I also drew on the same day as the other ones. That's how far I was behind. I was about 7 days behind, and I was trying to catch up. And I couldn't really look at my phone because I was in class, and he just hates phones in class because, you know, he's one of those teachers, but he's pretty cool. Anyway, for day 10 I drew whatever those mop dogs were, like with all the shaggy hair. I drew that. I didn't really emphasize the shaggy hair as much because I didn't know how shaggy they looked, and then I looked it up and I'm like, heck. So they're a lot more shaggy than that, but that's what I drew for that. And I also used my .03 pen for that, which is why it's so small. Actually, I might zoom in on it for you guys, just so that you can kind of see. Let it focus. So that's how that came out. And then the next day was Cruel. And for that I drew a wolf catching a mouse, or a coyote, whatever you want to call that. And just because, you know, it's kind of cruel, it's not really cruel because it's nature, but nature's cruel. And then day 12, I drew an orca, which I'm not really that pleased with how it came out, but, you know, I got done with it. I was pretty mediocre with the patterns, but I just wanted to be done with it, honestly. Alright, so that's those days. Going on to day 13, which is Guarded. This one, I really like how it came out. I enjoyed doing the different kind of colors, having my 0.5 for the smaller little cub, and then the 0.3 for the mama bear. It came out really nice, and I was gonna do more of a background, but I didn't. Like, there were pictures of bears in the forest, and there were pictures of bears in the grassland. And a grassland's a lot easier to draw than a bunch of individual trees, so my lazy butt went with that. And I really enjoyed how it came out. The bear is very cute, and that's what I enjoyed drawing the most out of this. I feel like I emphasized the fur pretty well on this, and yeah, that's day 13 Guarded. And then day 14 was Clock, and for that I just drew one of the standard clock. And I was gonna write all the individual numbers on it in Roman numerals, but I didn't really have enough space on my paper. I tried to emphasize the texture a little bit. I'll zoom in for that one as well. And I just drew a little cat beside it because I wanted to make sure that it actually looked good rather than it's still looking like crap. And then for day 15, Week, I drew my own little OC in a box saying Fragile, just because I had this idea in the back of my mind for a while. I kind of wrote it in my notes in case if I ever had the chance to do something with that prompt or with that idea a day later. But I put it Fragile just because I just kind of liked the idea and I kind of wanted to bring it to life someday, and I didn't really do as much shading it on the character as I wish I did, but I just liked the idea of this. So yeah, that's day 15. This one I absolutely hate. It's day 16 angular. Zoom out for that. And I just kind of tried to draw in straight lines, and this is where I also cheated with watercolor markers again. And I'm just gonna go on because I really don't like how it came out. And this one I also really hate how it came out as well. It's swollen, and for swollen I meant the balloon was kind of swollen up. Because you know, when you blow up a balloon it's all swollen and the pressure and stuff like that. Don't really like how that came out. If I probably focused on it a little more, it probably would have came out better. But that was day 17 swollen. And then the next day was bottle. This one I was okay with, but I was not really happy about it. I just drew Tiny Manicore in a bottle from Adventure Time, but that was day 18 bottle. And then the next day was Scorched. And for that day I drew the other starter, Charmander. I sadly did not get to Squirtle in this. I wish I would have though, now that I think about it. And I really like how it came out. I wish I would have focused on his proportions a little more though, because it didn't come out quite as I wanted it to. That was day 19 Scorched. And then this was my most liked one on Instagram, at least the group of photos that was liked. It was Breakable. I'm guessing it was this one just because the other ones aren't really that great that were in the group. But yeah, for this I drew my character Quinn, my winged lynx, which I didn't really draw the wings for, and I drew the bones, which I had to look up and then somehow simplify, which is probably the hardest thing to do with a cartoon style. Simplifying after you see the realistic drawing. So that was day 20, Breakable, and then this is day 21, which is Drain. And for this, when I was coming home from work one day, I saw a raccoon kind of investigating a storm drain, so I just decided to draw that. The good thing about the hatching is that you can't really tell how awfully lined all these things are. So yeah, that was day 21 Drain. And then for day 22 Expensive, I drew a Samoyed, which is my favorite dog breed, right after whatever dog breed my dog would be. And it's a Samoyed, which usually can cost thousands of dollars. I didn't really explain it that well, and I didn't really emphasize it that well in the drawing, but it was just mostly a doodle that I made. But yeah, that was day 22 Expensive. And then day 23, I didn't really make it clear. I didn't really make it clear that that was mud. I kind of wish I made it look more like mud, because now it kind of looks like he's biting his paw he's bleeding his paw out, and I don't really like how it came out. So that was day 23 day 23 Muddy, and I drew my dog Milo for that. And then the next day was Chop, which I wanted to do Pokemon because I did not really want to draw pork chops or chop. So I looked up what Pokemon knew any move with the word chop in it, which is either Karate Chop or Dual Chop. There are probably some more. I think there was Cross Chop as well, but I went with Dual Chop, and I drew Haxorus, kind of with its nice old chopping teeth thing. I don't know what to call those. Cheek swords? Cheek axes? Anyway, that was day 24 Chop. I was okay with how these came out, but overall it was fine. And then the next day was day 25, which is Prickly. And since I did a little research thing in 4th grade talking about woodpeckers, I learned about this one woodpecker that would actually make its nest in cactuses, or cacti, in Arizona, so I just drew that one. And I actually added color to it because I thought it looked pretty plain. I tried to do a thick outline on the outside as well. I'm okay with how it came out, but I thought it would come out better than it did. And then for day 26, there was Stretch, and that's where I just kind of drew a simple cat. Just stretching, because I didn't know what else to draw for that. So yeah, that's day 25 and day 26. And then we had day 27 and day 28. And day 27 was Thunder, so I just drew a little Shinx. with a little bit of color on it, just so that it wasn't looking as plain. I actually use a different type of marker, and if you can see a little bit, I put some white out here and there, because I messed up and smudged things because the pens were awful, and I did not use my Copic Multiliners. I think I might have used my fine liner pens for that, just because there's nothing else available when I was at school. And then for day 28 gift, I drew my dog with a little bow, just because he's probably one of the best gifts in my life. We got him on Christmas a couple of years ago when I was in 8th grade. And yeah, I just put some color in that because I was sick and tired of just doing black and white. And those, of course, I used the fine liner pens I got from Office Max again. And yeah, that's day 27 to day 28. And then day 29 was double, so whenever I hear twin or double, I always have to think of Siamese cats, because, you know, Siamese twins means, I think, same in some sort of language. So yeah, I drew those, and I added some color into the eyes just because I really wanted to add color in these. And I really like how it came out. I like the pose I made for the second cat behind that one. And yeah, that's probably about it for that one. Then for day 30, it was Jolt, so I drew Jolteon for that. Added some colors with that. Nothing much else to say with that. And then day 31, I did Slice, which I just thought of a slice of cheese, and I just added a little mouse next to it. Didn't really like how it came out. I just wanted to be done with it. I was going to do something spectacular, but I couldn't really think of anything to put for Slice. So yep, that's all my Inktober drawings. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a nice day.